So, a couple of months ago, I had the opportunity to do a work exchange with a woman owned and woman operated business. And I can tell you that working within a matriarchal organization was so vastly different from the patriarchal corporate environments that I am used to. So, today I'm sharing 4 lessons that I learned from working in an egalitarian matriarchal organization and how you can bring some of these lessons to your own workplace. Hi, I'm Kristen. I'm an executive career coach helping mid to senior level women rise through the ranks, get promoted, and transition into work they love. Let's dive in. So let me back up for just 1 second in order to give some definition to the terms I'm throwing around. So when I use the word matriarchy, I am referring to egalitarian societies. It's how humans have lived for most of our 2.5 million year existence on this planet. And when I use the word patriarchy, I'm not talking about men and I'm not talking about women specifically when I talk about a matriarchal society, but with patriarchy, I'm talking about a system of power and control where resources are hoarded within the hands of a few. And it's a very different model from what I experienced at this event a couple of months ago. So, if you want me to do a video or you want more detail with regard to that, just put a note in the comments below. I'm happy to do so, but just wanted to level set with regard to those definitions. So, number one, in this matriarchal organization, it was not a pyramid structure. So, if you have been in corporate America for any amount of time, you know that the majority of it is a patriarchal pyramid structure, meaning that I can't talk directly to the CEO. I have to go through this level and this level and this level in order for someone to pass him a note, and it's probably never going to get there. But with this organization, I could speak to anyone I wanted about a suggestion or something that I was seeing. One of the nice things that even if what I said wasn't something we could implement, it was explained to me as to why, which was vastly different from one of my last corporate jobs in which I offered a suggestion and my boss at the time snapped at me, obviously you don't understand what we're doing with this program. One of the suggestions I have is don't do that, obviously. But open-ended questions such as, what are you seeing that I'm not seeing? What makes you say that? What are you considering true in this situation? It's very much like Undercover Boss, where we know that people closer to the ground, closer to the clients, closer to the customer, they're going to have a very different perspective. But it's also valuable to understand what someone at the top is seeing and the considerations that they have. And it's only when we put them together in the middle that we come to a consensus. And that's so very important to take the time to make people understand that they're valued, even if you can't implement their suggestion. So, number 2, everyone supports the mission. So when I first arrived on site, we were preparing for an in-person event, which is not normally what this company does, but we were told the mission for the weekend. We were told how we were to entertain and treat every single guest, and that was reiterated throughout our meetings and throughout our time that weekend. One of the lines that continued to be said, which I thought was really important and very different from my last corporate role, was we don't want to be fangirling anybody. So the company and the woman that was in charge of it, she is Instagram famous, and there were a number of people at this event who were also Instagram famous. And one of the things that she kept emphasizing was the same light that shines in me shines in you. And I want you to share that with anybody who comes on site and does feel flustered or is, wooing over anybody else, that the same light that shines in them shines in you, and it's attainable for you. And by normalizing that, by making sure that we were all grounded in that energy, it made a huge difference. Versus my last corporate role, where our CEO would often be on CNBC, and although I'm sure he's a lovely person, he was definitely up here while the rest of us were down here. And that sets a very different tone for any organization. It makes people unapproachable. It creates that linear, you have to go through the different structures in order to be heard. And it makes you small. And when you feel small, you perform in small ways. Versus if you feel expansive and you feel as though you're valued and you feel as though your opinion is trusted, you're going to speak up and act in a way in which benefits the whole organization and not merely yourself. And speaking of trust, everyone in this organization worked remotely. Now, as someone who has worked remotely since 2005, and I can tell you that one of my top values is definitely autonomy, the ability to trust who you have hired is just truly a gift. And from a practical advantage, when I have worked on remote teams in the past, if I go to sleep or I log off at 5 and I have talked to somebody in Australia or in India and their day is about to begin or just beginning, they can take care of things before I even wake up. So there's a practicality to being able to hire the best talent no matter where they exist, and having people across time zones in order to maximize the time and the productivity of the team. And the other thing, too, that I just can't really get over when I see these CEOs say things about how everybody's so uninspired and they're not collaborative, is that fish rots from the head. So if people are uninspired, what are you doing to inspire them? Whenever you point a finger at somebody, there are always four fingers pointing back at you. So what is your responsibility to the situation? And I really don't trust leaders who leave themselves out of that equation. And finally, number 4, at this women-owned and women-operated business, they prioritized relationships first and foremost. What's so interesting, and I just believe the universe works this way, is this morning I saw this video with Simon Sinek, who I really admire, and he was talking about how his work lands better with women and how women make better CEOs. And I think he said it just that frankly, but I think the reason for that is as women, we are allowed the full extent of our emotions, with the exception of anger, while men are only allowed anger as their emotion. So Simon was saying, they're always asking me for case studies where women just get it because we're all human first and we all have human needs that need to be met in order for us to step in and do our best work. And for me, this also comes back to trust. I'll never forget, I had a direct report years ago, and she was trying to solve this problem in her office while checking Slack and while checking email and doing 10,000 things. And I said to her, I need you to log off. I need you to do whatever you do to relax. So go watch Game of Thrones, go for a run, go for a swim, go cook something. I don't know what it is that you do, but go do it. And sure enough, by giving her the afternoon off and getting her out of that environment, she was able to solve the problem that we hadn't been able to solve in weeks. That goes to understanding that we are human first and prioritizing our feelings and the things that we need to get done in the way that we work. I happen to know that the way she worked wasn't going to be benefited by doing 10,000 things to solve a problem at once, but by getting out of that environment and relaxing, and then it would come to her. So I hope this was helpful, and I hope you can see some examples of policies and practices that you can implement with your own team that are really going to help them and then help the company at large. Maybe we can't function in an egalitarian manner in every situation, but I can guarantee that in the situations in which we can, we are better off for it. So if this was helpful, let me know. If you have any questions you want clarified, let me know in the comments below. And would you like, share, and subscribe? When you do, it helps us reach a wider audience and we can build this community together. I come out with new videos each week, and until then, take care.